Hello everybody, I would like to take a few minutes and show you how to get started in LiveText developing your electronic portfolio. So in this class we use Canvas for assignments and discussion forums and projects, but we also have LiveText that we use to develop an electronic portfolio. So think about the portfolio as something where you put all examples of good work that you've done, so projects, papers, things that relate to education and teaching, because soon or one day you will actually use this portfolio in an interview setting or actually share it with professors and or future bosses in order to land a position. So let me explain how to get started in case you're new to LiveText or you've used it in other classes but not to this capacity. In our course, you'll see that there's some LiveText information, but what I'm going to do is actually go to the LiveText website. So if you're not familiar, it's college.livetext.com. If you happen just to type livetext.com, it will bring you to the same screen or the same page. If you already have an account because you have taken classes with us or at another institution, you can just log in using your previous username and password. If you forgot that information, you'll notice here on the screen it says forgot with a question mark. You can go ahead and click that. But if you're brand new, you're actually going to have to set up an account and go ahead and get started. So in order to have access to this, you're going to need to purchase a license. It comes folded up like a little brochure or pamphlet. We sell them in the KCC bookstore. You can also purchase them from LiveText if that just seems like a better idea for you, and you can go ahead and get started. And at any time I should tell you that if you are confused or you need some one-on-one tutorials, please let me know, email me or call me, and I'm happy to sit down with you. I have office hours and I can also meet before and after my hours. We can work something out. But if you would like to purchase from LiveText, you just click here, or if you're ready to register, you click here as well. They're going to ask you for some basic information, your name, address, the number that's going to be included in the brochure. So once you have access, you're going to log in. And you'll see that it brings you to kind of what they call the dashboard. It shows any classes that use LiveText or any classes that you are involved in. It also has a few helpful links here. Because I'm a faculty member, that's why you're seeing these kind of links, PDF guide and screencast. For you, it'll say student tutorials, so you'll get to watch little how-to videos if you're interested. You'll also notice that there's an active documents and then active reviews, my work inbox, and for us what you can actually just do is go to the documents tab. I'm making a little circle here with my mouse. And any documents that you've ever created in LiveText are housed there. Think of it like a library. If you're brand new to LiveText, it's going to be blank, and that's okay. So you're going to actually click New, where there's a green plus. Then you're going to see Kankakee Community College, and you will select portfolios. It's going to give you an option between blank and working growth. We're going to go ahead and choose blank. And then you're going to see some template information over here. This just shows you that LiveText actually created this template a few years ago. Create document, and then you're going to give it a name. So I'm going to go ahead and just use 1763 spring 15, and I'm going to click OK. You can pretty much give it whatever name you feel comfortable with. It could be something like working portfolio or education portfolio. It can be as specific or as generic as you like. Okay, so the good news, you're off to a great start, and we're sitting here looking at our blank portfolio, and you're probably thinking, okay, what do I put in here? Well, first let's get the lay of the land. You'll notice here that they automatically give you a blank section, and then they have over here manage pages. We're going to create some pages here. There are options to send for review, which means you'd share it with me so I can give you some advice and tips and some grades. You can just share it with friends in class or with others, so that's something to keep in mind for later use. You can give someone a preview if you'd like to grant someone access to just take a look at LiveText to see if it's something they'd like to use. You have that option. Also here you can copy this, so once you create a portfolio, if you want to make another copy of it, so you have like one that maybe is customized towards one school and then you make another copy to make changes, like for example if you transfer to Governor State University, they also use LiveText. You might want to make a copy of this later on and then make some additional changes for what they want. You can always print the documents or information that's in the eFolio. Then also you can export it, which is really cool. So if you want to take this with you, let's say you don't want to use LiveText anymore, you can actually export everything in this eFolio, which means save it to a thumb drive or save it to, send it to the cloud or something, so that you can use all these documents at a later date. So really, if you think about it, you never lose access to these documents. And then also you can preview your portfolio and look at any kind of styles, which is kind of neat about LiveText. And then of course here we have document properties. And then once you start adding content, which means like documents and descriptions, you can manage your content. You can delete things. You can edit sections or pages. So there's a lot of customization that's available to you. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, what do I put in here? If you go back to our class, you'll actually see the section headings information. And there are certain words that I want you to use for your pages in LiveText, and you'll see here that where it says Section 1 Welcome, anything that's underlined as a heading. Okay, so welcome, exploratorium project, which is something we're going to work on in this class, a problem-based learning unit, which we will also work on, content knowledge, human development and learning, diversity, planning for instruction, learning environment, instructional delivery, communication, assessment, collaborative relationships, reflection and professional growth, professional conduct, and computer software use. These are all the pages that you're going to create. And within each of these pages, I give you suggestions for what you could add to LiveText to go ahead and close this section in your eFolio. So for example, you'll have a welcome area, which you'll put your autobiography. Notice in the very first week of this class, I wanted you to share some information about yourself. You could copy and paste that information, and this could count towards that part of the welcome statement. Also, we're going to have an assignment where you're going to tell me what you think education's all about. That's called your philosophy of education. It's an assignment in our technology course, and it will be done in the next week or so. So hold off on that, because you will actually make this. I will give you points, and then you can add it to your LiveText eFolio, so it almost counts as twice the points. And then your resume, which is always very important, and that's also an assignment in our class. So if you notice here, anything with an asterisk, it's required. You have to have it in there. So your welcome area will be done pretty quickly. Section 2 is exploratorium. This is a project that we're going to work on, and probably at about week 5 in the class. So you have a couple weeks until we work on it, but eventually you'll be able to add all the documents or anything related to it. Same for problem-based learning. That's something we do towards the end of the class, so late April. But let's get to like content knowledge. So any of these sections that you see that have listing ideas or types of documents underneath, the key is you only have to use one of these for each section. So if you want to use your transcript for content knowledge, your transcript from high school at this point or college courses, that's fine. But you can't use the transcripts again for other sections. So maybe you don't want to use transcripts for this one. Maybe you want to use a research paper regarding education that you wrote in English 1. Or you took Intro to Public Ed with me, or Students with Disabilities, and you wrote your observation report. You could put that attachment, and this would count as your artifact for this section. Section 5 is Human Development and Learning. If you wrote a lesson plan for child development or any of the child dev classes or the education courses, or you were at Career Center, that would count as well. But let me stress to you, I think you should really think about the best examples of your writing as well as your lesson planning. So always make sure you're putting your best work out here on your eFolio. You will do the same thing for each of the sections. So a lot of these papers or artifacts, we call them artifacts, you might have already created in previous courses or this semester. And so again, hopefully you kept things organized, or you know where these things are located, so that you could just quickly find them and then upload them to LiveText. So for example, there's a welcome section, and then there's exploratorium. So how do you make that in LiveText? Well, first of all, you can manage your pages by clicking the plus and then adding a new page. So for each of those underlined section headings, you're going to create a page. Keep adding them. So then the next one might be exploratorium. And then OK. And the next one, problem-based learning unit. So as you can see, I just keep on typing. And then you're like, oh, what's the next one? Okay, come back here. Content knowledge. Okay, I'm going to create this one. Content knowledge. Now, let's say you make a mistake. You can always come back and change the wording or the spelling, so please don't worry about that at this point. Now, notice here I'm on content knowledge. That's the last page I created. It's giving me the option to edit the title. So like I just said, if you mess up, no big deal. And then if you're ready to add a Word document or a description or a picture or a video or anything to this section, you go ahead, it's giving you the directions here. Select a content type, you click the plus. So for the most of the artifacts that you're going to use in this class, you're going to select text and image. The other ones relate to Common Core standards, early childhood standards and learning standards, resources, which would be outside links or articles, a rubric, which would be something either you create or I create, or a form viewer. So for us, it's going to be text and image. Okay, so let's say, for example, on the content knowledge section of your eFolio, you're going to include a research paper from Intro to Public Ed or from English 1 about education. Okay, this is all hypothetical. So let's say I'm going to put educational research paper, because that's what I've decided I'm going to use. And then what you're going to do is it's going to refresh the screen. And you can, of course, edit this title in case, again, you make a mistake. Then also you are ready to add some content. So if you click here, it's going to give you a text box, very much like Word, where you can type information in this box. And what I suggest to you is for any attachment that you make or add, that you put like a 2 to 3 sentence description of what we're clicking on. So if you're using a research paper, you might say, attached, you will find a research paper related to educational psychology that I completed in the spring term. And then you would describe, briefly what it's about. And then what you can do is either both add a picture, so if you found like clip art or anything related to your topic, or a picture of you teaching, which is always great, but you would actually insert files, like adding an attachment to a Dropbox, in order to add something to this section. So you find that paper that you wrote, and you click edit, and then you upload it to this section. And then once you're done doing that, it's going to give you an option to save changes, which means I'm still working, but I want to save it so I don't lose it. And then save and finish will actually save whatever you've attached or written, and then return you to the screen where you can go ahead and edit any of the other sections. So again, you can edit everything, you can change everything. Notice here, and then the document properties again allows you to change the title of your portfolio. You can also decide the format in case you want to make changes. And you can go ahead and look at the different styles by clicking on the little, see, there's so many cool styles and colors that you can design. So if I like this one, see how it changes the color combination. So again, once you get everything created and it looks awesome, you can go ahead and customize it to meet your needs. And make it colorful or whatever. So let's say, for example, this blank page, because I clicked on it, you don't want to use that anymore. You, of course, could edit this in the beginning and change this to the welcome section, but you can also delete it as well. So if you go ahead and delete it, so now that blank section is gone, and it's recycling through, and then you'll see that I'll have to go ahead and edit this as well. So I would edit this or delete this as well. So again, what I advise you to do is go ahead and play around with this, add sections, add content, follow this description of what to do, give it a shot. For the most part, you know, clicking around and becoming more familiar will make this a lot easier. When students have struggled in the past, they have waited until the end of the class to go ahead and get started on this. And sure, you could do that. I mean, maybe that's the best way for some of you, but that's when they run into most troubles because they feel stressed or under pressure, and then they add things to LiveText, but it's not quite as good as it could be. And I want you to think about this for long term. This is something that you can take with you to the next level. It's also something that could help you get a job one day. A portfolio of some sort is pretty necessary when going into teaching or education, so it's a good idea to get started. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to help. And again, the sooner that you can get started on LiveText, the better.